Hello dear colleagues, today is the next video in the series of Azure Immersion, Microsoft Immersion Workshop about the Azure Migrate, how to migrate your on-premise infrastructure to the Azure, and this one is the last one, the third lab. We will talk about the migration, exactly existing virtual machines and services inside, like EAS from on-premise Hyper-V server to the Azure virtual machines. We did the discovery and assessment of these virtual machines in this tab. We did the dependency check and visualization, and right now we just need to set up the configuration, set up the migration, and be sure that all our data will be migrated to the Azure, and after that we will be able to turn on virtual machines in Azure and stop it in on-premise, right? And also, we will need to do some additional configurations, like configure the database connection. If you look on the dependency here, you will find, let's see, you will find that virtual machine, second virtual machine on the web tier is using the SQL Server connection, but we did not migrate exactly the SQL Server. We did the migration of the database from the SQL Server on-premise inside the virtual machine to the PaaS service Azure DB database, SQL database, right? And if we look on the dependencies, we will see that this machine is actively using the SQL Server. So we need to connect here to this second machine and do exactly the configuration of the website parameters to have the connection not to this IP address but to the name of the virtual machine. And to do this, we also have to create new private endpoint. If you remember or have a chance to look on the previous lab where we do the migration of the database, we create the special private endpoint to have the connectivity between database migration services to this Azure SQL database. Right now we will do this to have the connectivity from the application to the SQL database. Let's see how it will work, what we have to do. And to do this, at first we need storage account. Why we need storage account? Because this storage account will be used to store as the replica of the virtual machines VHD disks from on-premise to the Azure. We will use the Migrate resource group. We will create, by the way, where this central US, yeah. We will use the central US, and we need storage account. Create and migrate, and storage account will have the name like this, and the placement will be central US, same like virtual machine. So we don't need to have the premium disk, we don't need to have the geo redundancy. It's absolutely enough to have these options. In advanced setting, we don't need to have what we don't need to have here: enable storage account key access, public access, yes we need, or require transfer, yes we need, cross tenant, yes, networking. We will use for the networking any network because we need to provide, or we can configure the networking directly to allow only required network from on-premise. Data protection, we don't need blobs we don't need to protect containers, we don't need file shares. Just to be sure, encryption, the standard encryption, text, you have to use your text structure and create. So we will have the storage account to work with disk migration. Next one, what we need to do, we need to create endpoint for our SQL server again, but this SQL server endpoint will be used inside our network, production network. Again, we need to create new endpoint. It will be placed on the same resource group where we have it. We have to put it name and put it on the right region. Again, if you put it on the different region, it means that virtual network from another region will not be able to connect to this service. So the same one, SQL. It will be SQL server. We need to use our database, and it will be the SQL server. For the virtual network, we will take our smart hotel VNet, and it will be placed to the database level. It should be again integrated with DNS zone. It should be placed to the right resource group and text and create. As far as this endpoint will be created and will be configured, we have to go to the private DNS zone to be sure that this private DNS zone will be correctly connected, linked to the right network infrastructure. So this is the required steps that we have to do, and after that we have to go to the migration. Let's go to the migration. Storage deployment was done, and right now we go to the Azure Migrate, go to the Azure project, and we need to do the discover for the migration. So it will be Hyper-V, it will be the right region, so the central US, and yes, we confirm that it will be placed on the central US. What we are doing in reality, we are configuring Azure Site Recovery Service inside Azure Migrate. So like it will be hidden Azure Recovery Service, ISR, Site Recovery, that will be managed by Azure Migrate project, and this ISR will send the data from the on-premise selected machines to the right storage, and after that manage failover. The most important part here is that we need to download the provider here, and this provider should be installed on the Hyper-V server. You see, this provider will do exactly the migration of the data, so it will keep a look to the changing on the virtual disk, Hyper-V virtual disk, and send this data to Azure. So we need to install it. Plus, we have to have configuration file, again the same like we did before on the first video, where we use special registration key, generate the registration key for the virtual machine appliance virtual appliance to do the assessment and discovery, but this one is not a string that you copy and paste, but you have to download this file. It's just a file with required string, and yeah, you have to use the update, but for now, just to have it, we decline the updates. We install the agent. As you can see, it's exactly Azure Recovery Services, ASR. And after that, just a second, it will ask us for the file, configuration file, after finishing the installation. And again, register. Do not forget about the register. Browse the file. We have this file here in downloads. This one, it's a key, name, Hyper-V server, and connect directly to the Azure Site Recovery if you have no proxy, if you need to configure a proxy, so please use it. And anyway, outbound connectivity absolutely required to connect to the Azure. If you need to provide the IP addresses of the ISR, it will be the huge list. You need to go to the Microsoft site, I mean for the security team, who typically right now is blocking any outbound connectivity too. So you have to provide this information from the Microsoft site. You can find the endpoint for the Azure Site Recovery Service and how it will work. Right now we are doing the registration. Again, server is connecting. And to clarify, we are doing this on our Hyper-V host. This machine that I am using like a demo machine, it's exactly a Hyper-V host. Why I am not doing anything like I did for virtual appliance for the discovery and assessment, because I don't need to do this. I don't need to set up any properties, etc., because a discovery and assessment service, it's separate virtual machine, and I had to provide credentials, addresses of the Hyper-V host. This one exactly executing on the Hyper-V host and doing the registration. Let's wait. By the way, okay, finish. And right now we have to see registration option, finalize registration. If it's not come immediately, just do the refresh here. Don't worry, you will not lose. And you see one server connected. We selected the same Hyper-V, and we need to finalize the registration. It will take, you see, 10-15 minutes. Same time, we have to check our endpoint. Let's go to the resources. We can see our network interface, our IP address. It should be placed to the right IP address space, and blah blah blah. Plus we have to check our private DNS zone again to be sure that virtual network connected correctly, not correctly. So we need to do the adding the link, smart hotel to SQL. This one subscription, and we will use our smart hotel, and we don't need to have auto registration because there is just only one machine, one endpoint. For now, we are sure that any machine inside the virtual network where we will place all our machines, replicas of our machines from on-premise, will have the right connectivity to the SQL Server over endpoint. It's really important, and again, please check how your virtual network configured and built, etc., because it's wrong to have direct access from any network for the SQL Server. But it's not all configuration, because to have the full configuration, we have to go to the firewall and say that we need to add virtual networks, and these virtual networks will be hotel network, and this one will be smart hotel network. And we will enable access from this network to the SQL Server. And it's enabled and added. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we need to OK and do the same. Do not forget to untick deny public network access when you are doing the configuration of the firewall. After that, you can tick it back. And the same one, I don't remember, frankly saying, that's like, wait, VNet, and inside the VNet, let's do smart hotel. WAF does not need to have the access, and DB. I'm not sure that DB is not needed. Okay, will be added too. Let's look on it. Okay, and turn on deny public access. So the access will be only over the private endpoint that place it to the right subnet and publish it to the right VNet over the private DNS zone and link to this zone. Ready? So this one is ready. We are good to go to do exactly the migration. Let's do this. Azure Migrate and our SQL servers. And right now, it's more important part. We have discovered 5 servers and we need to replicate it. We are choosing the type of virtualization, again Hyper-V. We have it, it says that disk larger than 32 terabytes need to be updated to the last version. Please do this. Again, apply migration settings from the Azure Migrate assessment. Yes, we did the Azure migration assessment. This one, the first one. It will take the list of the virtual machines. You see all parameters, all required options for these virtual machines. We choose all 3 machines, and right now it's most important part. Again, we are going to put it to the smart hotel RG. We are using the storage. We are using the right VNet. We are using the right subnet. It will be placed on this subnet, and we don't need any infrastructure redundancy. We have right now Azure Windows Server licenses because we are moving it and confirm it. And next one, and the compute, you can see which sizes will be used. We selected this DV3 here is, let's choose another one, let's say F2S V2, just to minimize our spend. V2 and V2, this one. So operation system will be Linux, will be Windows, and the name of the operation system disks here. So we are again good to go with the virtual machine names, etc., what we need here. Let's go. And what we will replicate, in case if virtual machine has a lot of disks, you can choose which disk you need to replicate or not. For now, we have just only one virtual disk. Text. Do not forget about the text, because it's really useful stuff in Azure. And we start to do the replication. What it means that right now Azure Site Recovery on this machine, on the Hyper-V server, start to push the data from on-premise to the Azure storage. After that, we will be able to configure what will be built from these storage virtual machines on the next steps. But right now, let's see what's going on. So 3 replicas are healthy. It's here, it's on progress, and you can click on the replicating machines and see what's going on. So you can see that 0% for now is synchronized. After that, we'll be waiting for some steps, etc., until the system will be protected. So typically, absolutely depends on your performance, on the activity on the machines, on the activity on the disk of the Hyper-V, activity of the disk inside virtual machines, etc., because it's replicating by delta. But right now, as you can see, it's do nothing. It's doing, by the way, but it's just synchronization. To check this, what's going on, we can use even Task Manager and look to the Ethernet, and as you can see, there is a 900 megabits per second for send data exactly to the replica. So the performance, as you can see, about 1 gigabyte per second. It's a good, by the way, to have it. And right now, no, not yet. So I will pause this video until it will be replicated and fully protected, and after that we will do next step. We will configure the machines as it's ready, to have right configuration for each machine, and go with this configuration after that. Small notice about the replication. After the synchronization, you will see that the virtual machine is waiting for the first recovery point, and by clicking it you can see exactly the data, what's going on, which operations, etc., where the data is stored here, configuration of the virtual machine, but it still not exists because synchronization is not done, and the size of the disks, where is it, etc. And we have to wait. We don't need to do the stop replication, etc. Just wait until it will be done, or you can see the jobs and to understand what's going on, when it happens, enable replication, finalize protection, etc., timing all operations, etc. But we're still waiting to see here protected option. After that, we will be able to predefine it, for example, IP addresses, because, for example, we need it on our solution. And to get these IP addresses, just to remember, you can use Azure Migrate, and here you can use the dependencies. Let's go to the dependencies to understand which IP addresses we need to use. All this stuff will be here. If we click on the machine, this is the IP address, this is second IP address, this is exactly our SQL server, but we will not use it, and WAF, like a SQL server here with IP address. So we will use this IP address from this diagram to configure correctly IP addresses. Virtual network itself already configured with these IP addresses too. If you look on it, and if you look to the VNet and required subnets, we put all machines to this subnet, and as you can see, the same like we have on premise. But it's not necessary if it can work with the name resolution, etc. But for this lab exactly, it's also demonstrate how you can keep your internal IP addresses to continue to work with it. So all virtual machines are protected. It's ready to replicate, to migrate, but before this we need to, so not ready, it's already migrated and ready to move, to switch, to do the failover from the on-premise to the Azure. But before to do this, we have to change the network parameters. As you can see, there is a DHCP assigned IP address, but we will go and set it like expected from our configuration. It means here will be this one. Oops, sorry, 4. OK, and save. We have the first one. Second machine will be 5. And the last one, save. The last one will be 8. 6 is missed because we are using the 6 for the SQL server, and the next step will be exactly the changing the type of the connectivity. Let's say OK, save. Ready. Let's go to the migration. To migrate this stuff, we have to go to the replication, or directly there, migrate. No issues, all machines done, all superb. Do we need to do the shutdown machines before migration? Again, it depends on your strategy, how you are planning to migrate infrastructure. If it's okay, if it's possible to do the migration and have some blackout for your customers, non-available part, etc., it's okay. If not, you have to do the switching after that by DNS, for example, etc. And for now, we are doing exactly the migration of the virtual machine. This process will take also a lot of time, because what the system, exactly ARS recovery service, ARS doing, it's doing the creating of the virtual machines in required resource group, like objects, creating the for these machines a disk, you will see here some ARS options, like temporary objects. Let's see it. Not yet. And after that, we will good to go with the required configuration. Let's wait. Let's go to the migration and see what's going on in replicating a machine. As you can see, its planet failover was initiated and start failover in progress. But as I mentioned before, it will take a time. All jobs here in progress. We are going to the migration. Nothing's changed yet. And again, we can check our virtual machines that we are creating by ASR object site recovery here on the solution. Let's wait. We don't know, by the way, which one is it, because it's temp. It will be temp 2, temp 3. See. Here. Let's wait until it's finished again and reconfigure the infrastructure itself. For now, main or on-premise virtual machines, as you can see, were shut down. We have to wait until new infrastructure will be turned on and configure the database parameters for the Web2 and configure the Azure Application Gateway to do the publishing of the virtual machine. Waiting again. Okay. Failover process is finished, as you can see. So we have ready to use virtual machines that should be up and running. To check it, we can just do the refresh and see right virtual machines here. Smart Hotel 1, Smart Hotel 2, Ubuntu, etc. And for now, what we need to do, we need to at first configure its database connection, and second one, we need to configure the application gateway to publish our endpoint. To configure the database connection, we have to go to the virtual machine Web2. Why we know? Because this is exactly machine based on our dependency diagram that's directly connected. And here we have to provide administrator access with password and do the connect. Well, yeah. So we have to allow done and connect the new one because it's blocked by pop-up window blocker. Allow to access to clipboard. And what we have here, we have our virtual machine with our website migrated from the on-premise, and we need to change the configuration. You have to know how your application works in this case. In case of the website, current website, it's just a standard smart hotel registration with WCF application, and we have to go with the web config and edit, open with let's say notepad. Yeah, right. It's inside the virtual machine, so no notepad plus plus. And you can see here the connection string, and inside the connection string the server pointed like this. We need to copy the right name of the server from SQL server itself here, and we can see the full configuration. Oh, sorry. Now here database, and we can see the full connection string here. This one is full connection string, where we have to put right password and right username, or we can copy and paste just some parameters. We will use the full connection string from here to here, and the demo user is user, and password will be demo password. Yeah, it depends on application. Demo pass, like this one. It depends on application how to build. More important here. Oops. Look, I'm copied twice. No, maybe I just forgot to delete this one. Yep. No, I copied twice. Okay, so it means that I need to delete the first part. So the name of this server database provided by endpoint that's published over the private DNS zone, linked to the SQL, user, password, and connection. So correct. The first one is ready. Hope we will not need to do the troubleshooting. Second part that we need to do, we need to go with the resource group, and inside resource group we will have where we have log analytics, nope, public, no, where is application gateway? Here we have application gateway, and inside application gateway we need to provide right IP address for the web server 1, because this is our public machine, let's say first machine, but it does not have, you see, public IP address. We have to go here to the backend and say that we have virtual machine, and this virtual machine will be web 1 with this network interface, and save it. We need to wait until the web application firewall and application gateway will be updated, and have to go to the front end, and on the front end parameters copy our new IP address. So this one will be IP address right now for new deployment of our application in Azure. We have this home page, and right now let's put this home page, and what we can see here, it's a bad gateway. Why? So the options could be absolutely different, and to do the troubleshooting, what we need to check at first, we need to check virtual machines itself. Let's see, is it correctly configure it or not. String, connection string, smart hotel DB, demo user, demo pass, looks like correct. Let's check the address here. Is it resolved correctly or not? It's resolved with the right IP address, so the connection works fine. IP addresses and network where we place it is Smart Hotel VNet, Smart Hotel 04, correct. Why do we have this bad gateway? Just need to wait. As you can see, we have the same page that we had before here, but the time is different. It's 9:37. This one is 10:089. Sorry, with the same customers, with the same parameters. So we successfully migrated our services, our database, to work with the data. Also, we can configure the firewall to have additional protection, like a WAF, if it's required, and protects against attacks, not the standard, but WAF, with the firewall, with the prevention from the attacks, etc., etc. It's one of the advantages of the web application firewall. And we can set to the prevention, we can just do the exclusion for some fields inside the packages, and the request body, like it's recommended to have for 32 kilobytes, depends on your solution, etc. And the most important part again, to configure our solution to work with the Azure, because we migrated the virtual machine, but this virtual machine still not have additional options like Azure agent, like monitoring agent, etc. And we need, again, we can do this automatically or manually. We need to install the agents here, same like we did this for dependencies, and we still use it, but same time we need, oops, sorry, no, wrong one. Stop. It will not be possible to connect to this IP because it's access deny. Come on. Please copy, copy, copy. Let's do this way. Maybe it's because it's right, because I am copying from my machine to the terminal of this machine, and after that to the terminal of this machine. Oh, now it works. Run, and we will have agent here. For Linux, we have to execute additional commands inside Linux. We need to connect with Ubuntu by SSH and install the agent to the SSH. Again, to connect it, we will use the Bastion host, and this one will looks like we select the Ubuntu, use the SSH, and inside the SSH settings we will need, but wait, no, we have no SSH. Use Bastion. Yeah, here we need demo user and password demo. connect. Bastion will be our central gateway. We are here and we need to install the agent. Again, same way like we did before. This is our command. Copy and paste. And yes, we done. We need to install also to the first machines, but again, so who's care about the first machine on the demo lab? Finish to check, do we have agent or not? We can do a few steps. First of all, we can look on the agent version here. You see that we have agent version. Let's check for the virtual machine web 1. The same one, by the way. And the second one, we can execute some commands inside virtual machines. No. We can execute some commands inside virtual machines by agent, like a run command, and for example ipconfig. It will connect to by the agent to the virtual machine and execute on the application. Oh, virtual machine level, sorry. And of course, we need to delete all no needed for now services like Azure Migration, where we already replicated all of this stuff and we don't need to have these machines and these configurations here, but we can configure the Azure Site Recovery to work with to the opposite side, so vice versa, to replicate, for example, some virtual machines from Azure to on-premise to have backup in some cases, or from one Azure region to another one to have disaster recovery. And for now, we mostly done. So we are absolutely okay to, oops, I close the web 1. The command result will be lost here. Unfortunately, there is no... it's still executing in progress. Okay, fine. Yeah, you can see that command was executed inside the machine by sending from the portal, agent works and connected. It's fine. Plus we can check all our configuration, extensions, etc. here to be sure that we have right one. If we have not, we need to install, for example, log analytics, etc. here. But we have it. Interesting. Let's wait. Maybe the data will be updated soon. Doesn't. Let's see. Okay, so this is all steps that we planned to have for the lab 3. We did the configuration, we did the connection, we did the configuration of the web application firewall and protection of our infrastructure. And right now, so you can find all the steps from the previous labs in the description of this video, or in notification, or on the links at the end of this video. And thank you for watching, and see you on another workshops, on another Microsoft immersions. See you later. Bye.